So you can check all of that out if you do so wish to support tournaments just like this one happening more and more frequently. So we can bring as many of these awesome games to you as frequently as possible. As Stanton drops in with the 2-month resub on the Prime like this. Yeah, exactly like that. You nailed it, bro. 10 out of 10 would have you resub again. Thank you so much. As we get into the bottom left-hand side of the map, our red Terran player from Team Liquid is Kua. And at the top right, our blue Zerg is going to be Dark from Talon. Can you get unbanned on my Twitch chat? I don't know, Diego. What did you say on my Twitch chat? / what's your Twitch name? I'll check. Titan8989, thank you so much for that Prime sub as well. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hashtag sellout segment is officially working. How beautiful is that? Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it. Obviously, again, I know we've been very sporadic with streams as of late. We will be here most days this week coming up to Dallas. Obviously, Dallas next week, so I'll be traveling for that. But trying to stream as much as we can up until then. As we get into this Cure Dark series, we don't see anything super crazy. First moment or two, just in-base expansions, which is very much so the expectation on the map. Command center coming up. The order command is building. Reaper is producing. And we just get ourselves rolling here for the first few moments. The drone on the way out. The spawning pool is coming in. Naturally also about to finish up. So just getting all of that completed just for the moment. As our Reaper is going to go out across to the other side of the maps. Just going to try and see a little bit of what's going on for the next few moments. Get all of that underways. Well, Lynx be coming up. Queens and Drylings on the way out as well. Obviously, there's Reaper trying to scout about for a little bit of information in the early stages. We have a few Zerglings that are going to turn back on toward that Reaper. And Reaper just playing the back and forth game at the moment. Starting forwards, dodging back. We'll continue to fire in the Lynx. Take some shots as we go. Gets pushed all the way around again. Link speed coming through. The Queens coming up. And this up and rolling here for the moment. Link speed is, again, just about halfway done. Still got our starport coming through. With the command center building. Orbital on the way. SCV coming through. Everything looking good. Is this live? Yes, we are live. We are live. The game's alive. Your comments in chat are also, believe it or not, live. Would you believe it? Yes, they are. I feel Ling's going to continue to chase around. Reaper does turn back. Turns back up into the main base. Queen going to get a couple of shots onto said Reaper. So Reaper will take some hits already. Again, Queens and Ling drones will continue to produce on through. Marine Cyclone Medevac building in as the Reaper grenade goes off onto a few Lings as well. It's just going to get a little bit more damage done there. See our factory moving further into the base, and we do see a couple more barracks on the way up as well, as bringing those additional barracks up and running. Once again, those extra racks on the way. Just going to get the bioplay fully started. Post Youth typically seen as a pretty decent Zerg map because you can get a lot of bases. You can take a forward gold. It's not the most punishable gold by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like this is a map where the Terran can push the gold a little bit, but generally this is still just big enough to be kind of enjoyed by Zergs. And actually, rush distance, it's not that big. It's actually one of the shorter rush distance map, but the way the rest of the map is laid out, especially those corner bases, can be very difficult to reach. So you can really play from one side of the map to the other very easily. Not very easily, from one side of the map to the other. So that means that the Terran can't just kind of constantly deny all your bases. You generally can successfully expand in one direction. Medevac comes out over the right-hand side. See our Queen's coming over. Marine gonna get knocked down. Medevac loads up. Continue to move about. Just going to be seeing our drones coming in. Melee upgrades coming up. Let's see our Stimpack combat shield. Stimpack and 1-1 upgrades all coming through as well. Cyclone Marines. Need to come over for the moment. Upgrade going to shoot. Just going to see that Overlord taking some damage. Queen's going to be hanging out there as well. We do just have ourselves melee upgrades coming through. That Balin Nest is coming up. A couple more hatcheries coming by. And again, this army's starting to move out a little bit. Marines coming through. Crew teamers are going to start getting knocked down. The Lings are going to run over, and our Marines will load back up. Melee upgrades building up from Dark. It's been a fairly, honestly, overall passive ZvT, right? This has not been a huge amount of damage done or trading met or anything like that. Marine's still chilling. Medevacs and Marines still gathering up together. We do have the 2-2 and combat shield all coming up. Gonna catch this drop. Morphs Banelings as those units get caught by the Lings. A little bit of a funny moment as we just see the drilling close, still about halfway done. 2-2 is going to continue to come about, and we do have a hive finishing in just a couple of moments as well. So getting that hive online. Banes are going to crash in for a few of those Marines, so I'm going to nip those for the moment already. Marines, Widow Mines joining up together. Tank is going to unload onto the high ground. The CC floats down towards the low ground as well, so you're going to get that fourth base into position. Medevac still moving about, and the Ling Bane still setting up as well. There's a lot more Ling Bane coming through, the 2-2 coming on in. We just have ourselves not really too much of a chance to kind of break through here as Cure just takes base number 4. We just continue to push ourselves towards a deeper state of this game without anyone really having major fights. This really has been a very, like I say, passive way to get set up in this matchup. Drop in, Medevac's going to unload, Queen in trouble, drone's in trouble. The Banes are going to come over, Widowmine shots starting to go off. 8 workers killed so far. Liberator still firing away on the low ground as well, so nice actually drop in. You're actually getting some good damage, but does lose units for it, and Dark might try and capitalize on that. Dark's actually very low on drone count for his army's count. He's only on 54 drones, now he just lost a few extra, but he's going to keep on replacing with fewer units. He's up 40 army supply attacking in. He needs to not eat big Widowmine shots. Anything that can reset his army supply count very easily would be terrible for him. He does take one massive mine shot dead center on the forces there. He cleans out the low ground third. He could potentially go over to clean out the fourth, although that's a planetary, so you might have to think twice about actually committing into that position. Ling is going to continue over. Another Widowmine shot hits so many of those Zerglings. Bane's still coming through. We've got ourselves 28 dead SCVs. The planetary fortress going down. A few more of these Marines still being shot at. Queen's coming over. Gonna just go for the Medevacs as well. It's just gonna find a little bit of extra damage. Double Medevac coming through. Actually, have the Queen's gonna get back onto this Medevac, and a little bit more being done there as the Ultralisks gonna get their chitinous plating coming up too. It's a group of mules going to drop on in now. Also, it's just going to bring those straight up. As you do see medevac spy units continue to gather together. Just going to see a little bit of a stim up into the center here. The Marauders will lead the charge. Marines are going to start pulling it backwards. Undermine shots coming out. Well, continue to come in for some pretty decent trade outs. We do see Dark a little bit out of supply. Kua having to lift up and trying to retreat away. Again, this is Kua, who's obviously had his economy absolutely butchered here. 4th base gone, 3rd re-landed, but down 17 workers. But he did go into this with Dark on terrible economy, which means that this is still somewhat playable for Kua, because it wasn't like Dark did all of this while being on 80 drones. He lost a bunch of drones, he never replaced them. Bane still moving around in the center. Titan's plating finishing in a couple of moments. Medevac still to the upper left. A couple of Lings is going to run across, get on top of some of those SCVs and mules. Do you have a hatchery top left-hand side also taking position? This job has been so choreographed. Choreographed, that's not really the word. Still well tracked across the map. It's, Doc's is going to be, I mean, parasitic bombs just kill everything. Gives us GG, you know. Alright, GG's. Q's going to tap out of here. Doc will take game number 1 after a little bit of effort. He gets there and is able to open up a 1-0 lead on this best of 3. Left-hand side, our blue Terran player repping Team Liquid. This is Q. Down a game. Can he bring it back to a game 3? We'd love to see it. As in the top right-hand side, our red Zerg player representing Talon eSports. We have ourselves Dark. Alright, then game number 2. What does Dark have in store for us here? That was honestly a pretty slow start to the game as well. I really felt like it took a little while to kind of build up, and then suddenly Dark was just ramming into QS base with way too much army supply, honestly. I still feel like I would have felt better off for him if he just had more drones. But such was not meant to be, so gold base in the back of this base obviously is, or on the in base is obviously very interesting. That's something you should take as a Terran. It's much easier to defend as a Terran to hold off than it is for a Zerg, because the Terran can put a tank there and is pretty much be safe. The Zerg has to deal with the Terran that can also just drop across if you just leave a single unit there to defend, and obviously a lot of the Terran units are range based anyway, so you're not having to be forced into something different to play the denial in that position either. Queens, few Lings coming up, CC in the factory on the way in from Kira as well, so we get all of that started here. Comes over, drone is going to be taking a bit of a beating. We hop up, we hop down, still got our CC in our factory coming in, the reactor building as well. And yeah, Reaper's going to continue to poke away at the extractor. We have our command centers building up as well from Qs, getting those underway here. Gas all coming in, a couple of drones are coming up, the Queen is on the way, the few Lings get to the bottom left hand side. Just having the starport coming through as well from Curious. The barracks moves off over to the side from the factory, and that's going to leave the factory there to get a couple of Hellions on the way as well and get that up and rolling. 2 Hellions already in production, so getting those up immediately. Is able to again get a few more shots off, so the drone just taking a few nibbles Roach is going to be the play from Dark. I don't think that's too surprising. It gives you an option to play the denial on the gold base. So even just having that threat, it kind of keeps a couple of units there defensively as Qs. So it makes a lot of sense to play the Roaches. And Dark is the kind of guy that's very happy to play some Roaches typically anyway, right? Well, Hellions and Reaper move up to the top. Moving through into the center, it's going to be 4 Hellions, a Banshee coming through, a couple of SCVs coming about. Ourselves, these Hellions continue to move over. And they're just going to sit behind this mineral line, and like I say, ways in which the Zerg can struggle to hold on to this gold while the Terran can just play the denials, and obviously it's so much tougher, so much more investment required for the Zerg to do similar things. Aliens are still chilling, the Roach is still moving about, and a few more drones coming up as well. Aliens come all the way back down to the south side there. We do still see Stim about halfway done, a couple extra barracks coming through. Queen's in position right from the get-go. The Roach is still moving forward, and the Banshee going to try and get them. Try and deal with these Roaches ASAP, as the couple of Marines will get there as well. Just going to be firing up. Again, a couple of those Roaches being knocked down pretty quickly. Good defense initially there, as the Hellions get in position, push the drones off of that mineral line by just a little bit. So handling this pretty decently. Again, Roach speed coming up on the side of Dark. A few Hellions there, get rid of the Lings. The Roach is going to come around. The other Roach is coming too. I feel like these Hellions probably should have just gone. I mean, I understand you're trying to make the most of it, and in the end I guess this works anyway, but don't risk the Hellions for no reason, you know. For a couple extra seconds of mine time loss, it's better have those Hellions on the map looking for further options further down the line, quite frankly. Banshee gonna get rid of one more drone and still just picking and chipping on this gold base. Bits and pieces all adding up. The Roaches still dealing with the Hellions out on the map. There was the Banshee initially pushing Roaches away and stopping those Roaches from kind of making an investment further onto the map in general, so that's why you've never seen Dark really be able to get aggressive, because he's been held back by said Banshee. Being able to, you know, having to be holding back, held back from that is a pretty big factor as we get in here. Hellions go big onto this mineral line once again, so we get a bit more damage done. 4 drones going down, Roaches and Queens still coming over. Roach is going to get into that corner there. Those Hellions will continue to take some damage, so taking some shots at the moment. Marines unloading, just going to have the rest of our Roaches popping up. Marines going to load over, and we will have a drop into this gold now as a few more Marines dropping down. One medevac got shot down already. Marines going to take a jump onto a couple of Queens here. So Queens will be dropping down, taking out all of these Roaches getting picked off as well. And just have pretty darn comfortable cleanup from Kira, who's now going to turn back on to some more drones, and he is just doing damage, boys. He is doing so much. It is just keeping on growing. We're talking about Dark, who's now down by 13 workers. Definitely not in a position you want to be in. Definitely not looking pretty in the slightest at the moment. Spore Crawler will be there. A couple of Marines still unloading. Overlord going to get pushed away. Yo, thank you so much, ZvT. Thank you so much for the 2 years of resubscribing on that Prime. Hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for dropping the resub. Thanks for keeping it up for so long. Thank you. Marines come over. Just going to get in position here as we have the medevacs dropping, backing away. We have ourselves again, just 2-2 coming up. The combat shield coming through, +1 vehicle weapons is also underway. Banshee gets a couple of shots on a Roach. Medevac getting shot at. Hive and Hydra's still coming by. Medevac is going to go down. So got Marines on this bottom side going to catch the random swarm hose that was made. And with so many tanks on the way, it feels difficult to imagine what Dark does to survive a push like this with Roach Hydra. Yeah, okay, you're building Vipers. Okay, yes, sure, cool. Not super amazed by that, honestly. Yo, Gexy, thank you so much. 14-month resub on the Prime, appreciate it. And I'm Rick Dale. Thank you so much for the 1 year resub, just straight up 1 year. Hell yeah, thank you so much as well. Bio, just going to stim in. That is not the fight you want to be taking, as Roach Hydra is going to get absolutely blasted. Marine's still chasing forwards. Hatchery going to be in some trouble. Spore is going to go down. Let's just have ourselves, quite simply put, a push from Cure that, as I said when it was starting to come across the map, that is unlikely to really be denied. And even if Dark starts to take fights, the tank count from Cure is going to really limit the amount he can attack into those positions. Let's just have a few Marines still firing through. Hydra pushing back, those Marines taking shots. Tank gonna fire onto Queen, the Roaches, the Hydras. The army of Q are looking way too strong here, and we might just be setting up for game 3 of this series because, heck, where the hell not? Had game 3 a lot in this tournament, we really have. It's amazing to see how many game 3s we had. I wonder if there's a way to quickly analyze how often matches go to game 3, because I swear down, it's way more often in this tournament than it has been in others. I'm gonna look into that, because I've been talking about it so much as well, so definitely good reason to, as we have Marines dropping off again. Hatchery is going to come and take some shots. Hydra's not exactly the response to this that you need. These Hydra's just getting shot down. Marines are having a great time. Gold base goes down as well, so that will fall. The Medevac still escaping away. Bit of bio on the bottom side. Get cleaned up. Medevac shoved out of there. Marine Marauder Medevac tank continues to come about. We get the concussive shells also producing. The rest of this army from here is still just down to the bottom. Marines are going to stem in at the front, going to get rid of some Hydras. Roach Overlord. There's going to be some good blinding clouds coming down as well, so they are going to absolutely cover those siege tanks. Viper's still coming through. And we have ourselves a Zerg army on the counterattack that is actually starting to look a little bit hopeful. Dark took a lot of damage, he's taken a lot of base losses, but this is his chance if there ever was one to perhaps put all of that behind him and just to give him one more shot in this game. He does not have a lot of drones, but his standing army is genuinely huge. The thing is though, his Q just gets tanks out. He's not building tanks right now. I really felt as though if he just built some tanks, he's going to be fine. A couple of defensively positioned units would be great. He loses one tank now finally starts another tank in production. Hydras are obviously very flimsy, so they're dropping quite quickly here for Dark, unfortunately, as you see the few Roaches trying to get in front, the rest of the bio coming back over as well. Supplies even out, and again, Dark obviously having a lack of workers is, you know, while it meant his army was initially larger, it does mean that in the long run, rebuilding, reproducing, resetting is going to become so much more difficult to do, so it's genuinely going to be one of the bigger problems here as well. Across the board. I'm just seeing the bio continue to move across. Again, another base. I mean, here still keeping Dark's economy low, just trying to, you know, stop this as good as possible. Again, Roach is coming up, +3 missiles, +3 carapace, all coming through as well. So just bring all of this up. The medevacs loading up to go elsewhere as well. At the moment. Still gonna fight, just gonna stim on through. The Vikings already gonna get on top of a couple of those different Vipers. So Vipers taking some damage. Shots coming about. Still chasing Roaches and Hydra, still taking some shots there. We'll see the Medevac's actually going to get a little bit surrounded in, with the Hydras can actually get on top of this army. The damage they can deal is still huge. There's not a lot that actually just shuts down Hydras quickly. That is still the problem here. That's 100% the issue, as we just see a couple more snipes coming down. Fire pushing over, a couple more snipes there. Hydra gets killed as well. Medevac's doing some healing. We do have ourselves the Hydra Roach Force setting up around the bottom side of the map. It's going to jump onto this orbital here. Game is obviously still very much so competitive in the end. I mean, I really felt like Dark was going to stumble and fall, but Cure is struggling to get rid of that Dark army, and that's going to keep you in this. Now we get a couple of Infestors up, so some more Spellcasters available too. Hydras and the Vipers just going to come back across here, and we are going to see this little bit of a spread coming in. That fungal could be absolutely massive. Then again, ghost sniping at Hydras is obviously a huge deal too. That's just free damage, and with enough snipes, then you do just kind of offset a lot of that army. The fungal was not quite the beautiful fungal I was hoping for. Flying Cloud was well placed to kind of distract some of the bio, but you can see that when the bio is able to kind of just engage a portion of this army, it is just an absolute destruction of Hydras. Those Hydras just begin to drop down immediately. Bio continues to swing around the bottom side here. Another EMP comes off. The Infested dodges away. Fungal growth lands on some of those ghosts. Going to be a good way to shut it down, slow it down. Bio still pressing forward. No fungals available from that low ground currently, as we are going to land one onto these Marines. The connection, and again, Q is struggling to just find a good enough fight. We have another fungal showing up, and Dog is beginning to push his way through this QR army. Why is Q just unable to fight these Hydras? Dog's position has honestly been so bad. I'm not trying to... I don't even think I'm being too hyperbolic. Like, I actually think he was in such a bad spot. He's had terrible economy. Look at this income advantage. 10 minutes of Q income domination, and he just has not been able to fight these Hydras, which are not meant to be a scary, like this scary of a force against a Terran player. The only problem for Dark is that if he can't push into tanks eventually with this, he does then still lose in a longer game. And that kind of feels like where we might be headed to right now, that we might just be headed to that longer game, right? MLE upgrade is starting from Dark as he looks to prioritize maybe some extra bits and pieces. We actually also see the Burrow coming up as well, so we just get that underway here. Link speed coming through too. This army of Dark still moving around the bottom side. Marines and a Ghost going to be there to chase the rest of the Hydras away. We are going to get into position now with this Planetary Fortress. It's just going to get jumped on. And we're maxed out once again. In this game number 2, Dark leading the series 1-0. Q are currently trailing. Oh, these Infestors just lurking. We're going to catch this army. Here we go, popping up. Fungal goes down. Hydras are going to jump on this. Q is obviously quite split up, but does he just have the damage to rip through those Hydras? I kind of feel like he does. Even though Dark honestly started with a pretty decent fungal, is just not going to be enough for him here as Q's units keep on showing up. He just has so many of them. The Ghost able to snipe through as well, getting the Vipe against some more of the Hydras. Drones dying. And Dark didn't already have too much economy. The Hydra count is not good enough to fight through this bio, and that means that we are just going to be seeing The lights put out on Dark here on Dynasty. We are going to go to a game 3 between Cure and Dark. We're going to go the distance between these two. Yeah, that's very cool to see. It's very, very cool to see as our Bio continues to fight. Hydras will continue to get knocked down, and GG is called. Cure finally wins Dynasty. I mean, that really felt like it was kind of meant. In the bottom left-hand side, we're going to start things off with the blue Terran player looking to try and bring this to a victory and to will actually make this group very interesting, because then everyone would have 2 losses or more. So there's not going to be an easily determined clear-cut winner of the group. Cure in the bottom left is fighting for all of that, while in the top right looking to make himself the clear-cut current leader at the very least. We have Dark, the red Zerg player. On for our third map, final map of this series. Let's see what the builds are going to be. Let's see what the plans may turn out to be. Feelings is going to be coming up here. Queen coming out. Just getting that underway. Command center will start up. You know, mobile command coming through as well. Reaper is also in production just for the moment. Well, Reaper gonna go up to the upper right. It's gonna mean it's not in position to deal with these lings, which get all the way into the main base. Annoying. Look how many SCVs off the line from Cure, running those around big time. Maybe a fairly large loss as our SCVs do come through. The ling's still taking some nibbles. We have ourselves the couple queens trying to zone out this Reaper. A couple drones dead so far. As the queen chases over, Reaper will take some shots. Link speed is going to finish up, and this queen will continue to go after said Reaper. A couple of overlords coming about as well. And the starport Hellions all on the way up. Things are going to come through. Get a little bit of a grab. We'll see a couple of these SCVs beginning to go and get picked off as well. That's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 workers going down at the moment. We have one more worker in the corner of this natural going down too, as we have 6 SCVs killed in total. A great little counterattack in from Dark. Suddenly just 6 workers. That completely puts him back into a worker lead, and well, drone pulls like this hurt a little bit less when you know that you've done some good damage to your opponent. So Reaper does net a kill, but otherwise Dark will drone and Cure will build Banshees. Now, Banshees and Cloak obviously can be a very terrifying combination, can absolutely net you a way to deal even more damage, to kill off even more drones, and potentially just do even better for yourself. So that's something we're definitely getting to continue watching for. The Hellions will set up in the front and just hang out. Alright, we're gonna take a little bit of damage here. Gonna take some nibbles. Hellions coming through. Banshee in the cloaking. Getting set up. Let's just have ourselves the Hellions coming through. Then the Eva Chamber's still building. Overlord's on the way. Queen's coming through. And just popping some spores up. We get our cloak completed. Hyperflight Rotors is building as well. Kua is going to commit to mech for game 3, huh? Wow. With Hyperflight Rotors, you know, those Banshees and speed can absolutely be so annoying, can get so much done. It'll be interesting to see how much value he finds out of them. There's the additional factories we're expecting to be the follow-up to this, so that starts to come through as well. Hellions gonna show up on this mineral line. That's actually kind of scary for Dark. Hellions can be something you can sacrifice quite nicely as a meching player because you're gonna replace them, right? So to get 6 drones, pretty darn decent. So 6 drones, Queen's coming about. Batch is gonna go and get rid of a couple more workers in the main base. The damage so far is adding up nicely. In the end, we did not continue through the Hyperflight Rotors, so we just decided to stick to 2 Banshees, but it is mech beyond this anyway, as the 13 drones have now gone down. That's a huge amount of damage done. You got to be fairly happy with this in the early stages. Definitely feels like you're finding a fair bit of success so far. Hellions still chasing down some of those lings, and Proteron coming up, Hatchery coming through. More lings coming out as well. As you build a couple of additional Cyclones, obviously the next big question, I suppose, is what exact composition of mech are we looking to build here as Kua? Is it going to be like a good mix of tanks? Is it going to be super Cyclone heavy? Currently still being very aggressive with Hellions. And I'm open to Hellbats here, try and get a Queen, but the other Queens show up. So the Hellbats decide it's just time for them to walk away. Banshee back in the main base though, and they're gonna nab some additional drones as well. Extra workers continue to drop down dead. So we do continue to get damage dealt here as Kua puts in the work, and so far is being rewarded for it. As he has been able to really punish Dark and push Dark into a very difficult position in the game. Bandits continue to back it up for just a moment or two as we have Ling Roach opening up the rocks out on the left side of the map, and Swarm Host from Dark, which obviously a fairly typical choice against mech. So Swarm Host it will be. Let's see if Dark can work some match with them. Italian Cyclone the center again, a little bit caught. Swarm was actually going to pop onto it, try and get some kills, which I get, but at the same time, I'm like, well, was that really that great for us? I mean, now you have less locusts available to kind of be aggressive with, so that feels like you slow down and lose some of your potential pressure. One of the Banshees finally falls, so some of this harassment from Kira around the map is starting to be cleaned up, starting to get shut down, starting to be made to look a little bit less threatening for the future, but it took a while. It definitely got damage done, that much is for certain. Here's the Cyclone showing up here, gonna knock down that Nidus, take that out. More roaches and ravagers continue to come about. Which will just clean up a set of rocks there. Obviously opening up the map. Dark more or less max, which means he wants to keep trading. You kind of want to trade out and never let the Terran player get too close to maxing themselves. The more maxed out they are, the more efficient a fight they're going to end up being able to take. That's how these armies work. There's a focus press forward, getting a couple kills as well. Not bad. The roach is going to go back and forward a little bit here. Let's have those other roaches coming through. Two missile upgrades coming about. Hive on the way. Spire is building. You have the anti-missile landing as well. Dark has a few of those roaches in the front. Taking some shots again. He's never really been able to use those locusts aggressively. So the swallows having to be kind of just dropped mid-map and used in this way is not exactly ideal. It's definitely not the most efficient kind of manner of use for these swarm hosts. The files actually connecting now as the Cyclones couldn't find a way to split apart in time. Fungal growth, I believe, caught them to make them slow moving initially. As well, honestly, I like these fights in when we don't have the tank siege. Now the tanks get siege, you want to be backing away, which is what Dark is doing. Can he actually reach any of these tanks to bow them down? I mean, he couldn't get anywhere if the siege up happened previously. Battling these tanks would be huge. There's absolutely potential to kill these two on the bottom side, for example. We let one live, so the biles, again, maybe could have been placed ever so slightly better to clean both of those up. Tough to do when a lot is happening all at once. We just need a float of lings and allow Dark to kind of move forward, because the Cyclones are going to waste a lot of their initial shots on those lings. Now Locusts catch up as well. With the lings gone, I think Dark's going to hesitate, because I don't think he wants to lose too many Ravages. That's the efficiency game that he's playing, where if he doesn't lose too many Ravagers, he can kind of try and play somewhat efficient against the mech army. Obviously, so far, 2.4k resources lost more. You're going to lose more as a Zerg. But it's about trying to lose, make that number as little as possible. That's why you want to maintain those Ravages and only really trade with Lings/Locusts. Hero's pushing in up here. Finds the Overlord farm, so could get Dark a little bit supply blocked if nothing else. Now those Lings run over, Cyclones are going to get caught. It's a nice catch. On the bottom side, some more Logos getting in and a few more SCVs. Continue to drop down dead. Cyclones lock onto those roaches once more, and again, just trying to play cleanup here as QS supply has dropped a little bit, but still playable. Still has a lot of work as 87 SCVs to 71 drones. Kuro is the man with the money in this game. A little bit of a standoff in the center. Units going to start to peel around the edges. These Locusts coming about as well. 8 Broodlords currently on the way up. More Ravagers being brought into this, and again the army in the center from Q is still collecting together. Tanks continue to move forward. A Hellion out the front, just going to fire up on the Roach. And +3 melee and +3 missiles, continuing through the +1 flyer attack coming up also. Gonna make a Raven. He definitely has a Raven. I think it's nice to just be able to anti-armor missile and stuff, right? Honestly, late game Raven is still pretty good. It has so much utility. It's hard for it to not find some use somewhere, right? Typically, the problem with the Raven is it takes a long time to build, it costs a lot of gas, you gotta have a starport and a tech lab, but it's not really doing anything else that really requires any of that or stops any of that. I mean, base trade time? Q is gonna have to go. Quite frankly, Dark is already initiating this base trade, a lot of damage dealt. This army up here has to get moving sooner rather than later, please. Q, go, go, go. I mean, I understand you might be setting up some stuff at home to try and make this as good as possible for you, but this is terrifying. And actually, as he goes, Dark has decided to pull back. Even the Broodlord is pulling them back a little bit. By pulling those Broodlords back, it sort of signifies that, hey, I'm not afraid of just having to come home and clean you up. So in the end, just Kyo poking forwards is going to completely negate the attack. Oh, Locust dropped down. 3 more shots coming about. Cyclones, Hellbats still pushing in from the left-hand side. Here come the Broodling. Is going to drop off once again. Going to go straight towards that CC. He's going to try and close the distance here. Cyclone's in trouble. Going to get a lot of this being cleaned up for the moment. Dark's also down on the bottom side, so the attack at Q goes nowhere. The answer to these Broodlords are going to be the Thors, but the Thors are still in production, so... we're going to wait for Thors to be built. I mean, that means Q is going to lose a lot of stuff to these Broods. I kind of like that he's counter-attacking once these Broods are turned around again. More Biles. And drop down once more. We have got ourselves the army of Q trying to push forward. A lot of SCVs lost. We do still have units on the back side of this as well. Could potentially flank. Now the Broodlords again shut down by the Thors. The flank is not going to do much flanking. A few more Broodlords popping around. Sorry, guys. Keyboard just got splattered. As we do have our Ravagers. I'm going to come in and clean up these Thors. The army of Dark still attacking down that bottom left-hand side as well, so it looks as though Kira is going to be bested in this best of 3. I love that these Broods are just chilling, doing their own thing. Yeah, splattered. I knocked my cup of tea and some of it popped out and landed on the keyboard, and I'm kind of scared to press any buttons now. Was a single Viking game built this game? I don't think so. Because he wasn't very starport heavy at all. I was going to say GG as he gets cleaned up here. Dark is going to finish up this series with a win. Just like that.